How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to review my Oris Aquis date 43mm version. So, preface, I've had this watch for exactly 3 years. 3 years as of a couple days ago, and so I feel like I've got a lot of experience with this watch, and yeah, I'm just gonna offer my opinion on it. So I've had this watch for a long time, since about almost 3 years. I bought this watch from an authorized dealer. And so I got the warranty. You get warranty, 2 years warranty with this watch if you buy it, and then if you sign up on Oris website, they give you an additional 2 years, so you get 3 years warranty, which is pretty good. A lot of manufacturers, when they put Solitas or ETAs in it, they only give you 2 years generally, so pretty good. So to start off, this is a great watch. Oris is a brand, been around for a long time, early 1900s. The brand is really good. I think that it's kind of a darling of the online watch community. Everybody kind of, at least a lot of people, like Oris. Not the most popular brand outside the watch community, so you know, if you want people to recognize the watch you're wearing, it's definitely not there with maybe you know, Rolex, obviously, or Omega, or even Breitling or Tag Heuer. Those are the ones I find that people tend to recognize the most. So this not quite there, but in the watch circles, everybody knows Oris. Everybody knows the Aquis or the Diver 65, and now the Pilot date is Pointer date. Sorry, it's getting a lot of attention as well. So as far as the brand goes, it's a great brand. This is my favorite watch in the Oris lineup, and most likely the only one I would buy. The Big Crown Pro Pilot's definitely appealing as well, but this one's definitely my favorite. Okay, so let's start off with the movement first. This watch has a SW200. This is the movement that Oris uses in a lot of its watches. It's basically undecorated aside from the rotor. I don't know if I'd consider that decorating, but it's got the famous red rotor that I guess is famous that Oris has. Not sure. I mean, is it famous outside the watch community? I don't know, but Oris always usually has these red rotors on their watches. The movement is pretty basic. I think it's a base grade. I don't even think it's an elaborate grade, but I don't know for sure. Pretty much a movement that's everywhere in watches. It's you know, you can find these things in Invictas and Oris, Steinhardt, whatever, Glycine, everything that's sort of around. Even Tag Heuers, you know, have these. Even some IWCs, which is kind of crazy, honestly, have this movement. So it's all over the place. Now, granted, a lot of those watches have different grades of this movement. This one is sort of the entry-level grade. So it's basically finished to the lowest spec. It's not chronometer certified. For me, this watch is relatively accurate. I would say it has about, from what I recall, +8 or so is what this runs. So, you know, no problem for me, but if you're expecting like +1 every single day, I don't think these are regulated to that standard. So, aside from that, no problem with the movement. 38-hour power reserve. It's automatic. Everybody kind of knows this movement. It's pretty much the copy of a ETA 2824 +1 jewel. I think the regulation system is slightly different. Don't quote me on that, but in any case, the movement's pretty good. Nothing special, but it's solid. The bracelet on this watch is fantastic. It really is great. It's screwed with, sorry, I guess it's put together with screws here. The screw heads on this are a little small, but there they are. The finishing on the bracelet is excellent. It tapers down, which is really, I really do enjoy a tapered bracelet. Love how it looks. It's got the shine on the outside, and then the sort of brush, in the middle, and then on the sides here. Got this bevel down the clasp. The clasp is really good. This watch does, in fact, have a diver's extension, solid milled one. It's none of the pressed ones like some of my Fortis watches have, or some maybe Aqua Racers have. It's a full milled one. I don't really, you know, I don't think I would ever use that, but you know, it's cool to have, right? So whatever. Clasp is great. Finishing on this watch and the bracelet is excellent. So the bracelet overall really comfortable, nice and thin. It's integrated into the case, which I'm sure you probably are aware of already. So unfortunately, if you're looking to buy different straps and accessories, NATO straps, this won't work for you. I think there's some adaptive kits to put other straps on, or you can buy ones that are specifically made for this watch. For me personally, that doesn't bother me in the slightest because I never change the bracelet out. I don't really like straps generally. And so I think the bracelet's awesome. If you can deal with that, totally fine, right? This one, it's got the interesting sort of proprietary system to screw it here, so you'll have to get a special tool to remove that. Again, not a problem for me because I'll never remove it, but for you, perhaps. The lume on the Aquis is really good. It lasts a long time. It's not blow your head off bright like Seiko lume is, but it definitely lasts long. It's sort of a kind of a low glow. It's blue. It looks really good. I think it really beats the pants off of most watches in this price range, Swiss divers specifically. So if you're thinking like Alpina or Fortis or even Mito or something like Certina, stuff like that, in my experience, this is a little bit better. So 2 thumbs up for the lume on the Oris Aquis. Dial, super simple. I have the blue one. There's a lot of versions of this. There's this, there's the Clean Oceans one. There's all kinds of special editions, Lake Baikal. There's various colors. So, this is kind of the most basic one. It's got the blue in the middle and the black. I love this color combination. I don't own any blue watches, blue watches, except for this watch. I really like darker color watches, and so for me, this one really looks great. Covered up by the hand there, it says Oris, and then Aquis pressure resistant, 330 bar, 300 meters. So it's 300 meters water resistant. Swiss made on the bottom there. Hands, really nice, pretty simple. I like how they look. They're finished well, they're polished. The whole dial is quite polished. All the indices have polish on them, so it's quite a reflective dial when you're wearing the watch. You can definitely see it. So it's definitely a watch that is not super subtle. It's not look in your face like 44 Breitling Chronomax style blinged out, but it definitely is a little flashy. So for me, that's I like that. When you wear it, it makes it feel kind of luxe, and I enjoy that. The case is super nice too. It's got the kettle sort of lugs, as I've heard it be called. The bezel sticks out over the case. Like I said, this is the 43 millimeter version. I believe there's a 39 and a 41 or something millimeter versions. I'll put it up in an annotation, but this is the biggest one, and for me, this is the best one because I have a preference for bigger watches, but you can pretty much get any size you would like, which is an awesome thing. It gives people a lot of choice. Because I know people maybe won't like this size, but the case finishing is excellent. It's basically brushed all over. There's a bit of a polish here and then on the bezel, but it's totally brushed, and overall it's really nice. Crystal, sapphire crystal with a little bit of an anti-reflective coating, I believe. It's not the best anti-reflective coating. It's not bad, but it works, right? I don't think it's as good as like a Fortis or a Breitling. Those are 2 other brands that I really like, and I don't think it's quite up to that level, but it is pretty good. You can kind of see me in the reflection there, and overall, the crystal is really nice. It is domed. It doesn't stick out over the case really, or the bezel, but great crystal nonetheless. The ceramic bezel is really nice. This one's black. It comes in a lot of different colors. It looks really nice. It's really shiny, it's glossy. Bezel action, pretty good. No play in mine, maybe a little tiny bit, but I've seen other examples where people do say they have play in it. This one, a little teeny bit, but I really, it really doesn't bother me because I don't really find myself using the bezel too much. I sort of just keep it there, but okay, so of course I don't get it lined up first try, but you can hear it again. It's easy to grip. I find it's big, it sounds good, it works good. So overall, I like the bezel. I think it looks great. It works well, and yeah. Crown action. When you pop the crown, you can hear it pop right now. Oh, there. It's nice. It's solid. I've seen some complaints of people saying there's wiggles. I don't find that issue. Mine, it moves a little bit if you hammer on the thing, but to me it's fine. When it screws in, no problem. Signed with the Oris logo, which is nice, just simply written there. And yeah, the crown's really easy to operate. The screwed on crown protector lugs do not interfere for me, and I got relatively big hands, and they don't interfere with how hard or easy it is to turn. So pretty good design overall. This is what it looks like. I'll show you now what it looks like on my wrist. If you see right here, I'll put up in some other B-roll, but overall, I have a 7.5 inch wrist, and so this is the 43 mil. It's I think it looks really good. You know, I have a Tudor right here, a Tudor Black Bay. I think this thing really honestly wears smaller because it's thin. It's thinner, and it doesn't have any lugs, and so that really that makes it feel smaller than it is. It's kind of like a big saucer almost on your wrist, which is a nice look. So frankly, I think it fits well. As I say, there's different versions for you, and overall, it's definitely a great fit. So what are the negatives of this watch? Well, a couple. One thing to keep in mind, I note, is when you put this watch down, like let's say you put it down like this, you will mark the case. The case will hit the links here. So you can see on mine, I really did a bad job trying to fix it, but if you look right here, it's hard to see in the camera, and I'm kind of a picky guy, but I do see it in other people's videos. Right here, usually on Oris Aquis, there's always a line. And when you put this down, the case will hit, the bracelet will hit the case there. So you always have a bit of a mark. If you look at like other reviews, you always see it. There, you can see it right there. Mine's not too bad because I'm pretty careful, but right there, there's always a mark on the case. And so, I mean, obviously if you're going to use the watch, it's going to get scratched, but I'm a picky guy, so I'm going to tell you the critique of a picky man. So, you know, that bothers me slightly. I don't really think there's much they can do with that. But if you look at every single other review, you can always see that line there. So that's one thing that kind of bugs me. Another critique of this watch, the high polish, it does get scratched really easily, but anytime you buy anything that's high polished, it will get scratched. That's sort of the name of the game. So if you're super nitpicky about it, I was initially when I got it, just because it was like, wow, this is a really expensive thing, but I sort of learned to live with it over the years. But it will get scratched. Another critique that I have, these screws to put in the bracelet are very small, so sometimes it's a bit of a pain to find a screwdriver to do it. They're quite small. I found that I don't know if they put Loctite or anything on these, but they kind of backed out on me, so I did put Loctite on it to make it tighter and not fall out, but that's something you might want to keep in mind. I don't know if they put Loctite on here. So another critique, perhaps the anti-reflective coating could be better. As I say, like you can see the reflection in there of the light and stuff like that. As I say, the Fortis watches or Breitling, they do give you a better AR coating in my opinion, but in all honesty, it's negligible. I'm not too picky with that, but another critique. The only other critiques I would have probably is the movement. So I think they could put a bit more of an interesting movement in this watch. Like for example, when you buy a Steinhardt Premium, you get this nice elaborate finished movement that's finished quite nicely. The Oris, not really finished too well. Does it impact the functionality? Not at all, but you know, you're spending a decent amount of money, and so I think that they could probably put a nicer movement. It'd be cool to see like a chronometer grade one with a high-end Solita movement in there or something like that. I don't care so much about in-house or not in-house, but I think that a nicer movement would do the trick. I think that'd be kind of a cool feature. Maybe make like a premium version or something like that, but I'm sure they like to they know what their marketing is, and maybe I'm just saying stuff that's not feasible, no idea, but this is a great watch. The finishing is really good. If this was my first luxury sort of expensive watch, and so again, there's the debate whether Oris is luxury watchmaker or not. This is to me, $2,000 or around there, a little bit under, is pretty expensive, and so for me, this was my first expensive watch, and it really does feel expensive. I'm not joking. For me, it nearly rivals this thing. There's a little bit of feeling difference, but I think that the Oris really, really does hold its own. It's impeccably finished. It feels wonderful. When you pick this thing up for the first time, especially if you're not used to feeling more expensive watches, you'll feel this and you'll think, wow, this is a expensive product. It looks expensive. It shimmers in the light, and so from my perspective, it's a wonderful watch. Actually, this is the only watch I've ever worn where I've gotten a compliment on it. maybe I don't really hang out with nice people, but you know, I have had compliments on this watch before, and people say, wow, that's a nice watch. They don't know the brand or anything, but it is a good looking piece. So overall, I would recommend Oris, especially as your first watch or as your only expensive watch. Like I'm telling you, these are great. This is one of the few things that I don't think the hype is not justified. I've seen a few critical reviews of people thinking the hype's not justified, and in my perspective, this is a wonderful watch. And yeah, thanks for watching my video, and everybody, and take care. Bye-bye.